The Mavericks expectedly got their ass whooped today, but that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk more about the bombshell of Luka Dončić, and Luka himself has spoken out after the trade to the Los Angeles Lakers. We'll break it all down on the DLLS Mavs postgame show. Yes, Mavericks fans, we are in mourning as the Mavericks. Look, man, as the score graphic says, who cares? Who cares? If you want an official score, it was 144-101. As the
was
Mavericks,
that close?
Jeez. In a game where the Cavaliers led by over 50 points versus a shell of a team in the Dallas Mavericks today. We are DLLS Mavs, of course. Kevin Gray, Mavericks analyst Bobby Curla. Tim Cato will be joining us shortly. He is working feverishly to get the most information up to date for you for our DLLS website as well. We'll be joined momentarily by our national NBA insider, Marc Stein, as well, to provide that much more in-depth analysis when it comes to Luka Dončić being traded to the Los Angeles Lakers. We have an official statement also from Luka Dončić as well that he posted moments ago via social media, which we will get to here in a second. But obviously, Bobby, this has been a day that the Mavericks played a game. They lost big, expectedly. Shout out to Kyler Kelly getting his first NBA double-double.
Let's go.
But at the same time, the entire basketball world is still abuzz and stunned that Luka Dončić is no longer a Dallas Maverick at this point.
Yeah, I mean, again, to kind of rehash what we were talking about on the pregame show right before the game, if you didn't get to join, it just, everything that happened late last night into the wee hours of the morning, and especially culminating in the press conference today that Nico and J-Kid gave, it just feels like such a slap in the face. It just feels like such a slap in the face to fans, a middle finger to the entire Mavs community. This is a group of fans that has followed this team not only from the DFW Metroplex, where more than 7 million people live, not just the state of Texas, where like almost 30 million people live, but in Slovenia and in Spain and in Philippines and in Australia. And every single show we ask people to let us know where you're watching from. And it's been all 6 continents, with one person claiming they've watched us from Antarctica. So that's all 7 if they're to be believed. Like, this is a worldwide global community, and a lot of people are hurt. A lot of people are upset. Mavs fans feel rightfully angry. They feel confused,
Betrayed.
They feel insulted. This was done in the middle of the night on a weekend with no warning, no way to prepare yourself. Yeah, nothing. And then, Nico takes the stand today and is cracking jokes and saying, well, 10 years from now, he and J-Kid will probably be buried. It's like, well, that's literally the last thing anybody wants to hear. And so, whenever everybody, I think, we're going through it too. This is really cathartic for us, but everybody in chat last night, everybody in chat today, everyone that's commenting on any YouTube video or any social media posts, they're all experiencing the same thing. Everyone's just upset, and I think it would have been a really powerful thing, a really moving thing, and maybe not a healing thing, but certainly important for Nico and J-Kid to go up there and say, I think I know how you're feeling, and we feel it too. But we're not going to rest until we make it right. We're not going to rest until we bring a title to Dallas. Instead, they laughed. And, I think that was kind of the nail in the coffin for a lot of people. And literally, there was a coffin on display at the arena.
Yes.
A lot of people are just really, really mad, and that didn't make it any better. And I think that's where we're starting from right now.
Literal protests in front of the American Airlines Center today from Mavericks fans upset with the trade as well. We will break down more of what has been a day that will live in infamy for a long time for this franchise. Before, let's go ahead and bring in our national NBA insider, Marc Stein. You can always dial up the Stein line at the Stein line. We're going to get to Luka Dončic's statement here in just a moment. He has released a statement via social media just moments ago. But Mark, before we get to the actual statement itself, the day for you, how would you describe your day thus far, given what has taken place over the last 14, 15 hours or so at this point?
I mean, it really has been. I probably said it last night. I mean, this is unlike any trade I have ever covered. The reaction to it is unlike any trade I have ever covered. The calls pinging my phone from front office executives, coaches, players with other teams. I don't know that I've ever seen a trade greeted with this much just outright shock. And, a lot of people are still trying to process it. And it's still, I mean, we're now what? Happened at 11 something last night local time.
Yeah, we're about 14, 15 hours into this at this point.
Not enough. It hadn't been long enough for this to sink in. I mean, it is still staggering to try to put this together. And, the Lakers tweeting out a picture earlier today of Luka in his Lakers 77 jersey. Like, it's just, I mean, you don't need my words. I think everybody feels it, and this is a heartbroken city. I mean, I've lived here nearly 30 years. I don't remember a scene or a reaction like this. And there have been some whopper sporting transactions in this town, but I don't think anything quite like this.
Luka Dončić putting out a statement just moments ago via social media entitled "Dear Dallas," and I will read the full statement word for word coming from Luka Dončić. Quote, 7 years ago, I came here as a teenager to pursue my dream of playing basketball at the highest level. I thought I'd spent my career here, and I wanted so badly to bring you a championship. The love and support you all have given me is more than I could have ever dreamed of. For a young kid from Slovenia coming to the U.S. for the first time, you made North Texas feel like home in good times and bad. From injuries to the NBA Finals, your support never changed. Thank you not only for sharing my joy in our best moments, but also for lifting me up when I needed it most. To all the organizations I've worked with throughout the Dallas community, thank you for letting me contribute to your important work and join you in bringing light to those who need it. As I start the next part of my basketball journey, I am leaving a city that will always feel like home away from home. Dallas is a special place, and Mavs fans are special fans. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Luka, 77. So deep, heartfelt words from a player who has changed the lives of so many people here, but his exploits on the floor in a Mavericks uniform will not soon be forgotten. Before I get your reaction, Bobby, to that, Mark, your reaction to that statement by Luka Dončić as he leaves Dallas and his message to fans.
I mean, some beautiful sentiments, beautifully read by you, by the way. And look what jumped off the page to me right away. I pulled this quote out of the statement. I thought I'd spend my career here, and I wanted so badly to bring you a championship. I mean, can we, I know that when this trade happened late on Saturday night, there was this, he must have asked for a trade, and I immediately reported then that there was no trade request. He was absolutely blindsided by this. And, have there been bumps and bruises and setbacks and sources of tension along the way? Yes. But I certainly never got the sense that he wanted to be anywhere but here. And I think with the words you just read, pretty much, Luka isn't known for dunks, but I think he pretty much slammed that one home. And, even today at the press conference in Cleveland, Nico Harrison was asked, were there any behind the scenes or back channel notions sent to the Mavericks, transmitted to the Mavericks, that there was any hesitation on Luka's part? You know, we all know, we talked about it. We did it in our one-on-one with Luka on Media Day. We know in early July, he would have been eligible for a 5-year, $346 million contract, the largest contract in NBA history. Nico Harrison was asked today, did he have any indications that Luka was not willing to sign that contract or hesitant to sign that contract? And Nico said he did not have any verbal communication to suggest that. So, I mean, this, again, the whole league, starting with number 77, was shocked by this. But it's also very clear it was Nico Harrison's call. He wanted Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is the only player that the Mavericks went after here. Nico said it as well at the press conference today. He did not speak to any other teams. I reported this morning that the first conversations between Nico Harrison and his Lakers counterpart, Rob Pelinka, were January 7th, on the day of the game that the Lakers were here in town. They kept it quiet for almost a month. The conversations lasted almost a month, and they kept it quiet until they had a deal.
And then Mavs fans received the news in the worst way possible. So I say this to kind of put the picture in the frame, right? I worked for the team for almost 10 years before coming here to DLLS Sports, and my relationship with the franchise stretches way back beyond that. All right, I've been a Mavs super fan freak I'm 33, so for 33 years. One of my buddies that is also a lifelong Mavs fan was texting me earlier today, and he was like, dude, I don't know why this hurts so much. Like, he was just like, he's so there. We have people in the chat that, like, we have grown adults that are crying right now, Mark. And my buddy is the same thing. He was really going through it. And, you know, I told him, like, there are a lot of people that, you know, for whom Luka is their Dirk. You know, and I've always tried to be really, really mindful of that, especially when working for the team, because I got to see Dirk's entire career. There will never be another athlete that I'll look up to and admire the way that I did Dirk. But there are a whole lot of Mavs fans to whom Luka is that guy, you know, and there are a lot of Mavs fans like me. And, you know, Mark, you've been around. You're not a Mavs fan, Mark, but you were here for Dirk's career. You're here for Luka's career. And there are a lot of us in the studio and a lot of us in the chat right now that we're lucky enough to get to watch both of those guys. And I think the thing that makes this hurt so much is that we got to see the most improbable sports story ever unfold. Dirk Nowitzki's career, 21 seasons with one team, 30,000 points, a championship, a dude that after his rookie season wasn't even sure that he was good enough to be an NBA player. But he stuck it out through thick and thin. There was a lot of bad during his time here that was beyond his control, and some of it was under his control. But he stuck through it and saw it to the end and gave us a championship before he finally retired. And then we see Luka say he wanted to spend his entire career here. And it's just like,
oh boy,
how lucky we felt to get to have Luka and Dirk play together. Dirk passing the torch to Luka. Another improbable, once-in-a-lifetime sports story gets to play out with no break in between, from one Hall of Famer to the next, from one improbable superstar to the next, from one guy that is as dedicated to the organization as we are to them, to the next. And then just like that,
like a thief in the night,
11:30 on a Saturday night,
my God,
the dude that wants to be here, the dude that wants to spend his career here, the dude that wants to be the next Dirk is shipped to the Lakers. And we're just kind of told to deal with it, man. It's so gross. It's just gross, Mark.
No, and look, you laid that out very well. And one of the most amazing elements of that, I mean, look, Dirk Nowitzki was drafted and he had such a tough start to his NBA career and ended up being an all-time great to spend a record 21 seasons with one team. And then in his last season, before you even have to contemplate what it would be like to walk into that arena, and not have number 41 there, the Mavericks acquire someone who has the potential to be even better, and who, for all the supposed flaws that Luka Dončić has, is one of the 3 best players in the world on his worst day. And so, look, Nico Harrison and the Mavericks can rightly say, we questioned the Kyrie Irving trade, and that worked out famously. Some of us questioned the amount of draft capital that was surrendered at the deadline in the 2 trades last year for PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford. Were those players both worth a future first-round pick? There were people around the league who are questioning the Mavs, and on both of those trades, Nico Harrison and the Mavericks got the last laugh. But they've taken such a more dramatic step into the risk zone with this one. The way this trade has been framed and greeted by teams around the league, the utter shock that just continues to reverberate everywhere. Anthony Davis is going to have to deliver in just a massive, massive, massive way to help fans get past this. And I don't even know, like, if, you know, it's a lot to thrust upon him. I wonder if he realizes exactly what he's walking into. Anthony Davis waived his trade kicker to help facilitate this trade. That's how much he wants to be here. And yeah, 15 whatever hours into this, and we still can't believe it. And I mean, Luka Dončić was a generational talent. And man, I'm running out of things to say, guys.
Let's take our first break here on the DLLS Mavs post-game show. When we come back, more with our national NBA insider, Marc Stein, obviously as the bombshell trade that has rocked the NBA, and specifically, of course, for the Dallas Mavericks, with the trade being official today, Luka Dončić being a member now of the Los Angeles Lakers, and Anthony Davis coming to Dallas. We'll break it all down coming up next here on the DLLS Mavs post-game show. But first, you got to go to Game Time to get your tickets for last-minute tickets for any basketball games, football games, concerts, any event that you want to go to. You got to utilize Game Time to get your tickets. I utilize Game Time to get my tickets to go to WrestleMania coming up in April, on April 19th and 20th with Game Time picks. I was able to filter out the fluff to show me the incredible deals on the great seats that I got. Also, they had panoramic seat views as well, so I knew exactly where I was going to sit before I purchased my tickets as well. And they got all-in pricing and lets you know how much you're going to pay exactly before you get to checkout. You could take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code DLLS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code DLLS for $20 off. Download Game Time today for your last-minute tickets for lowest price guaranteed. Shout out to Game Time.
Thank you for not asking me what time it is.
Oh, yeah.
It is. It's always game time, but not today.
Not today.
Rugged Road is dedicated to creating innovative and durable outdoor gear for adventurers who demand the very best. Their products are designed with the highest quality materials and craftsmanship, ensuring they perform in the toughest conditions. Whether you're on land or water, Rugged Road gear is built to accompany you on every adventure. One of the most unique features of Rugged Road coolers is their ability to always float upright, so you will never lose a drink. And even though they're really durable, even though they're going to float, they are not like other heavy-duty coolers. Rugged Road coolers are incredibly light, so they're easy to transport on any trip, no matter where you're going. They're crafted to handle the toughest environments, too. So whether you're floating the river, hiking in the woods, hanging out in the DLLS Sports Studio, slamming some back with Craig Ludwig because you don't know what else to do with yourself, they're guaranteed to keep their contents cool for up to 7 days, and they will survive any adventure. So gear up for your next adventure with Rugged Road coolers. Reliable, durable, and built to be used, Rugged Road is your ultimate outdoor companion. Head to ruggedroadoutdoors.com and use promo code DLLS for 10% off. As we bring back in our national NBA insider, Marc Stein, of course, on the DLLS Mavs postgame show, the Mavericks lost today 144-101 to the Cavaliers, dropping to 26-24 on the year, now 12-14 on the road. The Mavericks were down by over 50 points at one point in this game. The halftime score was 91-46. The Cavaliers
shot 58% from three, going 26 of 45 from downtown. Sam Merrill hit 9 3-pointers today for the Cavs. That just gives you an indication on how much of a drubbing that took place in Cleveland. Mark, I want to pose this to you because the reaction has been varied across the league.
Varied?
Well, let me walk you down. Let me walk you down the path here. However much stock you want to take in Charles Barkley, that's up to you. But he got out here maybe half hour ago and said the deal that the Mavericks have made had now made them the second best team in the Western Conference.
Okay.
I don't just walk with me. I don't necessarily believe that, but that gives you a little bit of an idea of the variance in terms of the response. Mostly looking at this trade as, what the hell are you doing, Dallas? But there also are some people who feel like this team got better, Kendrick Perkins, as a result of this trade. How would you couch the response, the varied response, based off of basketball folks and other folks who look at this trade as not a good one for really either side at this point?
I mean, I can only speak to the people that I've been speaking to, and not one has hit me with a reaction anywhere near what you just shared. I mean, there are questions galore about, still, why did Dallas do this now? Why didn't they hold out for more draft compensation? Look, as far as why didn't they take this to auction, so to speak, they clearly didn't want this to get out, that they were even considering trading Luka Dončić, fearing what his reaction might be, fearing that at that point he wants to force his way out. You know, that's the thing, because Nico Harrison and Rob Pelinka are so close. Remember, Rob Pelinka was Kobe Bryant's agent for a very long time. Nico Harrison was at the head of the operations, Nike's dealings with Kobe Bryant and his agent Rob Pelinka. These guys traveled the world together. They're that close. So they were able to meet in Dallas on January 7th, on the day of a game, not be seen, and conduct trade discussions of the highest magnitude. You could put this trade in terms of magnitude up with any trade. And I know, you guys know I'm an old head and I'm a historian, and I know the generation older than me will say, Stein, you're forgetting Kareem to the Lakers, you're forgetting Wilt. I'm like, okay, I wasn't around for those, but history tells this is the first time two current All-NBA players have ever been traded for each other at midseason. And given the climate of the modern NBA, given where Luka is in his career, 5 All-NBA first teams in his first 6 seasons, just turning 26 at the end of this month, I don't think we have ever seen a trade like this. And a superstar at this point on his trajectory, on his career arc, being traded before he's even 26. This is a trade unlike which we have ever seen. And yeah, again, they were able to conceal it because, as I reported earlier today, until this thing got really close to the finish line, really, really close, and it got all the way to the finish line without Anthony Davis or LeBron James or Luka Dončić really knowing. I mean, that's how well protected it was. But for the bulk of these negotiations, as it was explained to me, there were only 4 people who were really briefed on these talks. Nico Harrison and Patrick Dumont on the Mavericks side, Rob Pelinka and Jeannie Buss on the Lakers side. So they knew they wanted Anthony Davis. He's the only player they pursued. But again, beyond so many teams in the league asking, why didn't the Mavericks get more? An even louder question is, the Lakers had 2 first-round picks. Why didn't they at least get those 2 firsts? I know there are some people who think the Mavericks should have gotten 2 firsts and Dalton Connect. But why didn't they at least get the 2 firsts? They only got one of the Lakers first. And look, you can cite a zillion different trades for comparisons, but let's just look at what the Lakers gave up to get Anthony Davis in the first place. I mean, do you guys remember that haul?
Yeah.
3 first-rounders, including the number 4 pick in that draft when that trade was consummated, and Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, and Josh Hart, who have all gone on to become very good players. I mean, think about that haul in comparison to what we're seeing here. So look, Anthony Davis has to, I mean, they got to win a championship to validate this. And you know what? For some, even that might not validate it because of all the you guys are talking about how, again, we are, I'm certainly older and, like Dirk was Bobby's hero. But, I've got a high school senior and I've heard from so many parents today telling me stories of trying to explain this to their kid who didn't grow up with Dirk Nowitzki. Luka was their Dirk and he was their hero. And like the level of affection for him locally and worldwide, we could try to do it justice and we probably can't. So, I mean, the Mavericks have taken, this is a dice roll of, I don't even have the word proportions.
I mean, of the highest order. I mean, okay. And I'm going to let you go here in a second. Hearing you detail, Mark, the haul that Anthony Davis got when he was moved from the Pelicans to the Lakers, and you couch that whether you look at Mikal Bridges, whether you look at Kevin Durant, whether you look at Rudy Gobert, who essentially went for 5 first-round picks, Luka Dončić at the stage of his career, better than all of them. I say Rudy Gobert, the 4-time Defensive Player of the Year, fine. If you want to throw that in there, fine. But
AD, the time AD was traded, he was as highly regarded as Luka is now because he was a big man and an elite two-way player. But if you also remember that trade, he was saying, I'm only going to the Lakers or bust. I'm not signing with anybody else. So that theoretically should have chilled the market even more. And the Pelicans still got all that stuff.
God.
Yes.
I mean,
and so, like, again, the Mavericks' belief here is that they got a top 10 player in the league. And you know what? When Anthony Davis is right, he is a top 10 player in the league. He is a two-way wrecking machine when he is right. But the reality, again, in his first 5 seasons as a Laker, he only played 70 games, or the shortened season equivalent of 70 games, twice. He's on pace to do it this time for a 3rd time in 6 seasons. But I mean, again, he has to be top 10 in the league great for this thing to even have a chance to succeed. And I guess we do have to throw in the caveat, let's see what other business the Mavericks do. Will a follow-up trade change the way we look at this trade? You do have to get, the deadline is still a few days away. Who knows if something materializes in the summer trade-wise? This is not the last move that this front office is going to make. But again, even 2 trades, they better be sparkly when you're talking about Luka Dončić just abruptly shipped out halfway through his 7th season.
Yeah, Mark, this is going to be a little – I'm going to ask you to do a little speculation, or maybe you do have some reporting to share on this, but the Mavs now find themselves with a lack of high-level playmaking, and they have a lot of 4s and 5s. I mean, they got AD and PJ and Gafford and Lively. That's a lot of bigs, and in the playoffs, generally, you don't play a lot of bigs. So my question to you is, now that they have 3 1s and they have too many bigs and not enough guards – seems pretty likely that there's going to be some sort of move. I doubt that I want to doubt that they would make this trade without having a pretty good idea of what they're going to do next. Should we expect the Mavs to make another trade between now and Thursday, if not multiple trades? To your knowledge?
They are working on moves before the 2 p.m. local time deadline on Thursday. What they actually get done, I don't have confirmed reporting. If I did, I promise you I would have already gone with it. I know that they're exploring their options and trying. Now, when you bring up the big men, I think that's a great point and something to think about down the road. Daniel Gafford has played his best basketball as a Maverick here in January, in this interminable month of January, where the Mavericks didn't have Luka Dončić for 1 second. They don't have Lively right now, but assuming Lively recovers from this ankle situation, in the offseason, now you do have two big men and Anthony Davis. Do they do something with Gafford in a trade? To me, that would be more feasible after the season than now, because obviously Lively is not going to be back anytime soon. And we know Anthony Davis wants to play with the center. So even though there's plenty of league skepticism around the league about, Anthony Davis keeps saying he wants to play the 4, and I think the consensus among personnel people around the league is that he's better as a 5 at this stage of his career.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Look at what it looks like to have Davis and Gafford together here. Give them some time to see what it looks like. How long are we going to have to wait before we get to see Lively and Davis next to each other? But, after yesterday, I rule nothing out, and I don't think I'm going to be surprised by anything. So if the Mavericks can put together something big or small in the next 4 days, I'm not going to be surprised one bit, because I know they are exploring every option.
At least they got under the tax, Mark. Woohoo! We did it.
And they asked Anthony Davis to waive his trade kicker. It helped them get under the tax, and that does increase optionality, as well as showing that Anthony Davis, once he got over the shock of finding out that he was being dealt, that he wants to be here as well. Anthony Davis and Nico Harrison are very close, and Jason Kidd and one of his top assistants, Jared Dudley, obviously were very close with AD in LA when the Lakers won a bubble championship. So there is a definite support system here to welcome Anthony Davis in. But again, as soon as I start talking about this like a normal basketball head and trying to assess the fit of Anthony Davis and what he can do here, something clicks back into my head that they had to trade Dončić to get this guy, and I'm right back to square one of not believing this is what we're talking about.
Mark, thank you. We really appreciate your reporting on all of this. We know that these last several hours have been some of the busiest that I'm sure you've ever experienced when covering a trade like this. We appreciate all the time you've taken to join us here on the show today. This story is still yet to be written when it comes to this trade and what possibly could be coming next. We'll let you get to work and see what the next steps are for this team. But as always, we appreciate the time.
Thanks, guys. Hang in there.
We'll try, Mark.
That's our national NBA insider, Marc Stein. You can always dial up the Stein line at the Stein line. When we come back here on the DLLS Mavs post-game show, we'll be joined by our Mavericks beat writer, Tim Cato. He's been feverishly working to get the latest information as well. He'll join us here to provide us his thoughts and perspective on this trade as well. All that and more coming up next on the DLLS Mavs post-game show. But first, let me talk to you about FOCO. If you want to get fitted in the best sports gear around, I encourage you to check out FOCO. They have hoodies, shoes, signs, bobbleheads, and everything in between. Shout out to my wife and my daughter that got me a pair of FOCO Crocs, Cowboys emblazoned for me for Christmas this year, and they got those from FOCO. If you're going to a basketball game or a hockey game, you can show off your love with team-branded friendship bracelets as well, whether it's jackets, beachwear, or even overalls, or in my case, Crocs. There's something for fans for almost every occasion. They've even got some set decorations here for us here on the DLLS Sports Studio set, so make sure you show them some love there as well. Check out FOCO.com or click the link in the description below for all non-presale items. Use promo code DLLS10 for 10% off. Again, DLLS10 for 10% off for all of your outdoor sports gear when it comes to FOCO.
I've got the perfect gift for the passionate sports fans in your life. Perhaps you've heard of Ice Shaker. Ice Shaker is now officially licensed with the NFL, NHL, NBA, NCAA, and MLB. Created and used by the Gronkowski brothers, Ice Shakers have sold over 1 million bottles. They've changed the game with workout bottles, and this is the one you've been looking for. Go to iceshaker.com and use the code AllCity25 at checkout, AllCity25, to save 25% on your first order. They're made with kitchen-grade stainless steel so that they won't absorb odor like those gross plastic bottles do. With their patented twist and agitator that breaks up powders, it's silent when you shake it instead of the annoying ball like the metal scraping around in the metal cup. It's really hard on the ears, especially if you're trying to do it in the morning and not waking up all of the people that would love you if you let them sleep in. It's third-party tested, so it'll hold ice for 30 or more hours, and they're customizable. You can send them your logo or check out their custom shop to customize your favorite bottle. Turnaround time on custom bottles is just 3 to 5 business days. So order your team branded bottles today at iceshaker.com and use the code ALLCITY25 for 25% off your order. Ice Shaker, show your support for teams with best branded workout bottles on the market. Ice Shakers.
The reaction continues to be swift and rather I don't even know.
We got a bigger thing. Tanner, Abby just posted a tweet too. If you could pull up a picture, the shrine is now almost spilling out into like into the road on Nowitzki Way, which is really, that makes me so sad to say out loud.
And the reaction continues.
Mavs fans are protesting the trade on the street named after the guy that the Mavs never traded.
And have been doing so all day as far as this trade is concerned. We are joined by our Mavericks beat writer, Tim Cato. You can always find him on X at Tim_Cato. Before we get to some of the super chats, Tim, you have been working feverishly all day long.
And still working. Not a thing to rush, and but I think the one thing I'll say, and again, like these are, I'm writing something. I'll write a little bit tonight. This is like the score bug.
Exactly.
Just saw that.
Yes.
Like this is not a. I can't solve every question you have. I will not be solving every question that is out there, probably even this week or ever. But I am gonna try my effing, or I don't know if we're cursing on this one too.
No, not on this one.
But I just think it's very clear. I think it's very clear that at some point when Nico Harrison took over the Mavericks, at some point during his time as general manager, Luka came into this franchise and they viewed him as the next Dirk. And at some point, Nico Harrison stopped viewing him that way. And everything around the team was not geared or pointed towards, the franchise with Luka, that Luka was always going to be the figurehead. It just became very clear that the way the team was operating, that this was a different type of franchise, and one that ultimately made Luka expendable. And, that's the thing that stands out the most to me. And, in a if you zoom all the way out and view this in, a total vacuum, at some point, you don't, you want to build a franchise, not, around a franchise, around ideas rather than a player. But it's baffling to me, and quite frankly, the entire NBA and every single person I've talked to, employed by the Mavericks and every single corner of that organization, how is this not compatible? How is Luka and the franchise that Nico was building, how were they not compatible? Because you have to make your organization compatible with a player like Luka. I mean, it's just that's the sense. That's what I keep hearing. That's what people keep telling me. It's just like, how is this possible? So
it's tough, man. I mean, a thing like this, makes waves, not only on the floor, not only for fans, but like I see, Richard in the chat, and there are a few people that have said, like, man, I'm a season ticket holder, or I know season ticket holders that don't want to go to games anymore. They don't want to be season ticket holders right now. And, if those people have the right to cancel their plans and request their money back, I don't know how that works, but if it does, that means that season ticket sales people at the Mavs lose a lot of their livelihood. Like, if people stop buying jerseys, if people stop watching games, that means a lot of people that I used to work with are going to be facing hard time. Like, it just sucks. It sucks all around. It just sucks. Like, it's not just a basketball team, which is why the fact that, Nico and J-Kid to a degree keep talking about this as if it's just a basketball trade is like, it's just so insulting to so many people, because this is not a basketball trade. If you were trying to make a basketball trade, this would be a bad trade. It would be a bad trade. This trade is about more than basketball, which makes it an even worse trade. And how they're talking about it, how they're approaching, explaining it, just makes it even worse. It's just a masterclass of poor communication, tone deafness, and it's just really deeply insulting.
2 weeks ago,
there's the shrine now.
Yes.
Like 5 feet away from that picture is a road. So like if another 20 people go lay their shirts there, like that is going to spill out into the street. Again, named after Dirk Nowitzki. That's a little bit of irony there, I think. It's just very sad.
2 weeks ago, Nico Harrison, in an interview for Slovenian RTV SLO, again, 2 weeks ago, said, quote, "It's a tough job, but it's also an honor because I feel we are going to be champions, and it will be because of Luka. I'll be honored to deliver that championship," end quote. That is Nico Harrison literally 2 weeks ago. And obviously knowing what we know now, saying that under the guise of trying to work on moving on from Luka Dončić.
I hate that.
It's just, I've been trying to couch my feelings with this a lot today, but my gosh, it feels like Nico did a favor to his boy. Like they've been close for years. It's like he called up his homeboy and said, "Hey man, let me do you a solid real quick. What you think about getting our superstar Luka Dončić?" And literally, Nico Harrison during the press conference today said that Rob Pelinka laughed at the notion that he would call him to ask him about acquiring Luka Dončić. And guess what? It came to fruition. That's what it feels like. It feels like his homeboy got a call. It was like, "Hey, man, what you think about this?" And they worked it out, because there is no way on God's green earth that this player should have been able to not get more of a haul, and not to even, I say that even more so because reportedly, and from Nico himself, he didn't shop around for anyone. He didn't talk to anyone else but the Lakers. He was hell-bent on getting Anthony Davis to this team at the expense of this player. I don't care how you try to spin it, how you try to couch it, how you try to rationalize it. I said it last night, and I will say it again. There is hardly, if any at all, logic to this. The only thing I can come up with is he did his homeboy a solid. That's what I got. That's what I got. Because there's no other way that you can.
A lot of people saying collusion.
I didn't want to use the C word because now we're getting into conspiracy theories.
No collusion.
Yeah, but it really felt like his homeboy got a favor for him because, again, and I said it earlier, and you guys may agree with me or not, this is completely unfair to Anthony Davis because no matter what, this fan base will not receive him the way that they should. Anthony Davis is an all-NBA, all-defensive player, a 9-time All-Star, an All-Star Game MVP, an NBA champion, for crying out loud. But he will forever be connected to the player that was traded for him, who may go on to have one of the 5-10 best careers in the history of this league. And I don't say that with any kind of hyperbole. That is the trajectory that Luka Dončić is on. And he will now be here and have to deal with all of this.
Yeah, Steve in the chat, Steve Chavero was the Mavs' original social media manager. And it's funny that Steve is in here because since that trade, the Mavs have lost 1 million followers on Instagram, several 100,000 followers on Twitter. So, I mean, again, that's more aspects of their company that's about to take a hit.
And a lot of the explanations I get is like, Nico's a corporate guy. Nico, he just thinks business. He thought this was the right move, and he has all these reasons, and I'm still, but like, you're not
a bad business decision.
Yeah, like literally from a business decision, I just want to emphasize that this is horrific. This was the most horrific decision you could make when it comes to a major like very international brand.
Awful.
Just insane.
Awful.
That's so insane to me.
All right, let's get some more answers. Yeah. Let's get some answers from Tim.
Yeah,
Tim said he can't answer all our questions, so we didn't even try him. But no, that's a bunch of BS.
Yeah, ask me questions.
We're throwing high heat next seggy.
Yeah,
okay.
We're going to take our next break here on the DLLS Mavs post-game show. We're also going to get to your super chats as well. Y'all been chiming in. I want to get to your super chats as well and more from our Mavericks beat writer Tim Cato as we continue to react of Luka Dončić being traded to the Los Angeles Lakers in exchange for Anthony Davis. All that and more coming up next year on the DLLS Mavs postgame show.
But first, speaking of business, we're running one here at DLLS Sports, and
does Nico realize that?
Quite a tone shift, but we did just reach 15,000 subs on YouTube today. Thank you all so much for supporting what we're doing here.
Over 15.1 now.
Really means a lot to us as we go through this. We've been live a lot over the last 12, 16 hours, and it's been obviously very difficult, but it's been really insightful hearing from all of you on this trade, on what the Mavs have done, how this has impacted you. If this is your first time watching us, we stream 5 days a week here on YouTube for free. We also have a website where people like Tim Cato are writing about all the pro teams in town. That's alldlls.com. You can get there by scanning the QR code or clicking the link in the description below. And if you want to support what we're doing here beyond just subbing to the channel, watching the streams, you can become a diehard. It's less than $7 a month. When you become a diehard, you get a free shirt. We got more than 30 designs to choose from, including one for Kyrie. We will never launch the Luka shirt that we had designed, so that's pretty cool, I guess. But we got a Kyrie shirt. It's pretty neat. You get a discount on any other merch you want, including hoodies, flags, mugs, cups, and more. You also get to join the DLS Discord Lounge, which I'm sure is absolutely on fire today. I haven't been on since this morning. Sure, it's very bleak in there, but it's time to cheer each other up. We're a tight-knit community. And then also you get
like a channel for that on the Discord?
We do. We have a Just Positive Vibes channel. I need that like I need air. You also get a discount on live events, and we do have a watch party coming up this week at Cosm. If you want to come be sad with us at Cosm, it's a big sports dome. It's like watching a game on an IMAX screen. It's really, really cool.
It's incredible.
There's only a handful of tickets left, so the link will be in the description. You get a 20% discount if you're a diehard. You don't have to be a diehard to go, but you do get to save a little cash. So if you want to go watch that game, we're going to be doing trade deadline reacts earlier in the day. We'll be hanging out with you there all night and then coming back to do the post-game show. Again, link will be in the description. Thank you for your support, and now let's get back to business.
Yeah, Cosm is fantastic. I was there last night for the Royal Rumble, and it was it's a fantastic venue as far as your sports viewing experience is concerned. As we continue here on the DLLS Mavs post-game show, it appears that the Dallas Mavericks have officially acknowledged on their social media account as well the trade as of 3 minutes ago, listing the accomplishments of Luka Dončić, of course, Rookie of the Year, 5-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA First Team, Western Conference Finals MVP, and, of course, the reigning scoring champion as well, with the following quote: "Your impact on this team and the city will never be forgotten. 77 Mavs family for life. Thank you for the magic. Havla Luka." So there is the social media statement from the Dallas Mavericks after this trade as well. More here from our Mavericks beat writer Tim Cato. What else has for you stood out about this?
What do you want to know?
Let's go here. What's next? What potentially is next? Because that, to a lot of people, and Bobby even posed a question to Stein earlier, what is next for this team based off of what has happened now?
It feels so like how the Mavericks are actually going to play on the court feels like so inconsequential in this whole thing, and should probably. But I have got a few texts from people being like, how are they going to, like, this is a roster built around Luka and built for Luka.
I just made the whole point. This is a whole impassioned point I made. This team is so well optimized around Luka and Kyrie that is not a surprise that they struggle without Luka and Kyrie. But now they don't even Luka will never come back now.
Yeah.
So it's not optimized at all. It's very unoptimized.
Very unoptimized.
Yeah. So I don't know. My sense, it's way, way, way too early to know. My sense is Kyrie probably would stick around. I don't think Kyrie is early indications that Kyrie is not going to like just opt out and get out of here. Way too early to know. Probably, and a lot of what that depends on will be, probably how this team does on the court. But, I do think, like they got to optimize it. Like PJ next to Davis, next to Lively, is just. God. I don't think that works very well. So is it PJ you're trading? Is it Lively? If that doesn't work, because that's the kind of the choice you have to make. Are you just going to platoon Lively and Davis and have them overlap for a little bit, but then you're closing games with Davis and often not Lively on the court? Like, that's a very...
And he has this fixation on playing at the 4 as well, does Davis.
Yeah, I heard Stein. Stein said they're still active trying to make deals. I don't have anything concrete to say about that, but I would be shocked if they're not exploring a lot of stuff. But...
Whew. I mean, there's no way that they just traded for a pick 4 years from now and they're like, yep, we're definitely going to use that.
Correct.
They are going to trade that pick in the next 3 days.
Yeah. And if for some reason they can't find something to trade it for right now, I mean, they're going to trade it this summer. This is Nico Harrison's entire focus is short term. That's why he was able to rationalize a 25-year-old for a 32-year-old, because all Nico Harrison is focused on right now is winning a title in this championship window. Now, he created the artificially shortened window by going and getting Kyrie and then signing Klay Thompson, who are older players. And, we were positive about both things. We understood what it was. But if this is how you're looking at the team, I don't think I would ever, going back to last summer, I don't think I ever look at a team with 20-year-old Derek Lively and 25-year-old Luka Dončić and think, oh, it's 32-year-old Kyrie Irving that needs to be optimized around, that needs to be prioritized. That's, well, his timeline is just a few more years, and so everything has to be done. Now, I did think Dallas needed to go all in and like really commit to winning now, but at least if you have, younger players, it's easier, to retool. But I don't think that is something that Nico Harrison was interested in. My understanding from everybody I've talked to is that, he is very short-term focused, and who knows? But I don't think he has not been conducting his business as if he's a guy who's about to be, a 10-year Mavericks GM or something like that, or as long as he, is put in charge. I mean, it's obvious. Like it's very, very obvious. If you view this franchise, if you stop viewing Luka as the face of the franchise, which that's what I understand. You just stopped viewing him in that manner. That is also a very, very short-term, very, short-sighted decision.
Again, I guess I'm trying to because I've been angry enough, and I'm literally exhausted. I'm exhausted of anger. Because again, even if you call your homeboy up and say, "Hey, man, what about this Luka Dončić trade?" To not extract more from this team because you mortgaged your future. I don't care that you got Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is a fantastic player. You have mortgaged your long-term future on a soon-to-be 32-year-old.
And just to be clear, the logic, as I understand it, as Mark was explaining from the Mavs perspective, is that they only negotiated with one team because they didn't want it to leak, and then Luka would obviously want out if you thought about trading him. Do you think that if you just said, okay, we're going to trade Luka, that you can't get him traded like in a matter of days?
Thank you.
29 teams are lining up, sending their best offers. If you decide to trade him, yeah, it's going to be a little awkward for a day, but like if that's your choice, you could turn around and trade him,
Yeah, you could also
He's
just say like
right now.
Oh yeah, LA, you only want to give us one first-round pick? Well, Utah just called and offered us 23. So go ahead and give us that second one, and we'll just get the deal done. Do you think Rob Pelinka is going to be like, "Oh, I don't trust you anymore. I don't want Luka for my 31-year-old injured big man"? Like, come on, dude.
You want to know why Pelinka didn't go out and like leak this? Because he didn't want anybody else being like, "You're going to trade Luka? We have a better offer."
Yeah. And that's the part to me that I just my brain just cannot compute. You did not go out and even if you wanted to trade Luka Dončić, you did not do your organization the best job that you could by going out and seeing what maximum value you could extract for that player. And instead, you went with a guy to do him a service and a favor to go get Anthony Davis. I don't care how fixated you are on the player. You did not do your organization the service of trying to see how much you could get for the player. And now you've got a guy who's about to be 32. You've got a guy that's about to be 35. And you've got a guy that's 32 right now playing with a trick back and trying to figure out how to move this team forward as the lead guy. Get the bleep out of here, man. Like I told you, I was exhausted with anger by it. I found a second win because the shit don't make sense. It don't make sense. And I've tried to figure out a way to logically find it in my brain, but I can't because all this is a favor for his homeboy. That's what it is. There's no way that you thought you was doing the best service for your team by getting this in exchange for that player, period.
The Mavs don't control their draft picks from 2027 to 2030. I just want to point that out. So if this doesn't go well, there's a really good chance that the Spurs, who by then will probably have De'Aaron Fox and Victor Wembanyama,
good gosh,
will be getting like a top 5 pick courtesy of your Dallas Mavericks. Everything is great. We're all having fun.
And again, this is not a reflection on Anthony Davis as the player. It is not. But you did not do your organization the best that you could by trying to move on from this player. You cannot look at Nico Harrison. He didn't look at us with a straight face because he was laughing his ass off during the press conference today. You cannot look at us with a straight face and tell us that you did the best you could. You didn't. You gave your boy a solid. And this is, look, you make silly decisions, you get silly results. And again, I hate this for Anthony Davis. I really do because he's a hell of a player. But my gosh, man.
And he's going to be just fine. He's getting paid $53 million for the next 3 years.
This is not about the monetary. Like, again, yeah, that's what it is. But to say that he did the best job in order to make this happen for that player, you didn't. You simply didn't. And that's just what it is.
Well, Jesse Holley, who is going to be he is on our DLLS Cowboy show, former NFL wide receiver, played for the Cowboys for a couple seasons and then played for some other teams as well. He just posted, "Sports is a business, not family." And trades like this really drive that home.
Well, Jesse doesn't believe in the concept of fandom either. So
he's joining our show this week.
Yeah.
So Jesse will have some insight on that as well. But
yeah,
I mean, that kind of dovetails, or whatever the expression is, perfectly with your point, KG. Like, if we're talking about this as a business deal, and Tim, you mentioned this in the last segment, we need to talk about this as a business deal. You're trading a younger, more valuable player for an older, less valuable player who ranks lower in jersey sales, has fewer fans. Where is the upside? I guess the upside is that you believe that it'll give you a better chance to win a title. I don't think that the millions of people that are now wondering what they're going to do with this Luka Dončić jersey in their closet, or in some cases several jerseys, I don't think they're going to rush to the hanger to replace it with the AD jersey or even a Kyrie jersey. And if you trade PJ Washington, I think that there might actually be, like, I live near the arena and I will be concerned for my own safety. Like, if they turn around and do some of the, like, talking about this as if it's a business deal makes it even worse. Like, it's even worse
because you didn't even do a good business deal.
No, it's a horrible.
It's a bad business deal.
Horrible business deal. You mean that, like, let's talk mergers and acquisitions, guys. All right.
Welcome to Economics 101.
Supply and demand.
Jeez.
The more demand there is, the more supply, or like the lower supply, there's one Luka, the higher the demand is, which means the higher the price. The more demand there is for this one thing, oh my God, you could charge $25 for a carton of eggs. There's a whole buttload of people that are really pissed off about how much eggs cost. Just imagine how many eggs Luka Dončić costs. All right, but the Mavs gave him away for a couple gallons of gas. So that's a great trade. Awesome stuff. Good job. And I'm running out of business metaphors.
No,
you did
Marc
great. Stein reported this, and he's absolutely correct. Luka did not request a trade. He did not request this. He was not going to request this. He was going to sign the extension. Of course, Luka has thought at times, or there has been concern within. There's absolutely been concern within the organization, 4 years ago when I, wrote a big story on the front office and they completely remade everything. The reason people were talking to me is they were concerned. They felt fear and concern that Luka, that the franchise was on a path to alienate Luka, and he was going to go and ask out because of how bad things were internally and around him. And they seem to have fixed a lot of that, and then at least right away, they kind of got back into stable footing. But then, like, to what end? Maybe they were headed on that path again. Maybe that's what Nico felt. But if they were, the decision he made is not to change what was alienating Luka. He just chose his way and said, well, if that's not going to, if that doesn't fit, if Luka doesn't fit into this franchise that I am steering and the direction and the culture and all this stuff, Luka doesn't fit into that, then, well, he's expendable too. He's not the franchise. He's not the head of the franchise. He's not the face of the franchise. And it's just like, okay, then see ya. It's just.
And making that decision not even 12 months after watching that player put together one of the more historic seasons in the history of this league. It is not hyperbole. We had never seen 34-9-9. That man had the most points, rebounds, and assists combined since the damn merger. We're literally talking about what was arguably the best player in this league less than 12 months ago. And now you make a decision to pull the plug on a player and not extract the maximum value that you could have gotten if you had simply picked up the phone and called somebody else instead of looking at your boy and giving him pennies on the dollar for this player. It's egregious on levels that have never been seen in sports. No one has seen things like this probably since Babe Ruth was traded to the New York Yankees. And none of us were alive or even thought about to be alive by the time that happened. And now we're
I don't even know if my family lived in America whenever that happened.
Hardly nobody's family was alive at that point. It was like 100 some odd years ago at this point. It's gross. It's gross on a number of levels. And somebody equated, the idea of Luka Dončić being, their version of Michael Jordan. And for some Mavericks fans, like, yeah, this player was on his way to being a top 5 player that we've ever seen in this league. And now he's going to be wearing purple and gold. And it's gross. It's disgusting. And I don't know, man. The sports guys don't normally tend to smile on things like this, especially when you make a bad business deal in a lot of ways.
People don't forget.
They do. And they sure have let it be known today.
People don't forget. And the Mavs are going to be on the road for a week, and then they come home next weekend, and it is going to be, Tim, wear head and eye protection whenever you go to the game, because you might be sitting in the splash zone.
We are 23 days away.
Don't do anything stupid if you go to the game. I cannot make that clear enough.
Yeah,
we do not endorse.
You.
Don't do anything stupid.
We do not endorse.
Don't do anything stupid.
Yeah. We're also 23 days away from Luka Dončić playing this team in Los Angeles. Like, the countdown to that game.
What do you think his PRA will be on Sleeper that night?
100.
75?
100. He'll go off for 60. Like I said it earlier in the pregame show, you thought the spite that he had for Rudy Gobert was something. Imagine now that spite being taken out on a team. I'll get to something else that Tim said that just struck another chord that I think is just blowing my mind here. But let's get to the super chats.
We have a lot to get through.
We have a lot to get to.
But real quick, before we get to those, Tim, you're going to put all this into an article and give some more reporting over the next couple of days. What can people expect from you in that regard?
I'm still trying to parse and put together what I can say now, but lots coming.
Okay.
I think the full story is going to take longer, but or as much of the full story as I can try to pin down and try to figure out. But yeah, I mean,
I can't wait to read that.
I've got to read that. I guess tomorrow I got to start thinking about how this team, again, how they actually look on the court. Again, it's so insane how inconsequential that seems.
Yeah.
And when is Anthony Davis even going to show up to play? He's hurt right now. Like, he's hurt right now.
We will talk about. We are going to be streaming tomorrow. We had a scheduled off day tomorrow, but that's not going to happen anymore. So we'll be live tomorrow at noon. Is that right? And maybe we'll talk a little bit about the on-court stuff, AD and Max Christie, because let's be honest, they're both pretty good players, but been overshadowed.
That may change by the time we get to Thursday.
That's your. Who knows who's going to be on the team when we're watching the game at Cosm with y'all.
That's right.
All right, Super Chat City.
Let's start with Mixmaster. Can you make that a little bit bigger for me? I appreciate you, because we got a lot of them and it's rather lengthy. You're good. There we go.
Hey, there we go.
That was riveting. No one can see what's right now.
Quote, with the $9.99 super chat, thank you, Mixmaster. Adelson's divested of Luka and are aligning all assets for short term so they can tank by, is that 2028? And then Dallas will vote on a new arena and then move to Las Vegas. Dallas then gets an expansion team. That's a hell of a plan, but I don't think they're leaving. They're not leaving Dallas.
That's not going to happen. Dallas is too big of a market. If the NBA wanted to expand to Vegas, which they do, they would create expansion fees. It would make them buku amounts of money. So, but thank you for the super chat, though.
Thank you so much.
And also, I mean, the team just hired Rick Welts as CEO.
Correct.
And the understanding is that Welts, who got the arena in San Francisco,
Chase Center,
that's what he's there for.
Yeah.
Like that is the overwhelming understanding is like, oh yeah, you just went and got the arena guy so you can get your own arena here.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody knows all the reporting, all the buzz or news or ideas that they want a casino arena.
Yeah, but like I said, they better pay for it with their own money, because City of Dallas taxpayers, including your boy, I'm a City of Dallas taxpayer, I'm voting a big fat no on that one.
Yeah,
Adelson family, Dumont family, that's on you guys. You can pay for that stadium.
Yeah, y'all better go
seriously.
full Steve Ballmer on that and go pay for that yourselves. Let's get to the next one. 12_Trogs, $4.99. Diehard here.
Let's
Shout
go.
out to you, number one. Appreciate you being a diehard. This sucks, but we will get over it one day. You all provided the best at content. Love you all. Thank you. Appreciate you. Shout out to Super Chat Sarah. The $7.77 super chat. I just can't believe it. I'm crying over Luka's statement. Thanks for the group therapy, guys. We all need it right now.
We do, Sarah. We all need it.
Shout out to you, Sarah.
This is helping us too.
It is. It really is. From Tanner Lucas, not Tanner, the producer. $5 super chat. The trip to the finals last year was amazing. Helped me cope so much with the passing of my grandpa in 2023. Still love the Mavs, but this is hard.
Yeah, I forget when I said this. I think the pregame show, but this really does feel like a death, and it's because we assign meaning to things, and as many dumb things go on, sports are absolutely a solace, and it's not just like it would hurt in any way, in a lot of ways, but I think what a lot of fans are most enraged at is like the breach of trust. The fact that this is not something that ever would have happened, should have happened, ever imagined to have happened.
It's unthinkable.
And like it was truly unthinkable. And for a team, an organization that so many of you guys have put so much time and money and loyalty and emotion into.
We adopted an entire country.
For them to turn around and say, no, we can actually do whatever you want, and we don't care about your feelings. That's insane. I get it.
Yeah.
I really get it.
No, for sure.
So.
This is supposed to be the escape from reality. And then stuff like this happens and reminds you that, hey, loyalty never fades away. And too often, loyalty is a one-way street between fans and teams. It is the team's responsibility to earn that loyalty every single day. And whenever I worked for the Mavs for 10 years, I was trying to earn your loyalty. I was trying to earn loyalty for that organization. And the organization is not doing anything to earn loyalty with this move.
This is a lesson. This is a painful lesson for sports fans who need to learn it in a lot of ways. I had to learn it years ago. Don't ever stick up for an organization. Don't do it. The players are worth the ones to stick up for. These organizations are not loyal at all. They will make business decisions that they believe are best for them at the expense of some ridiculous notions. And this is class exhibit 1A on how an organization will move to the detriment of its fan base, and really for no good damn reason.
Just another reason to love Dirk Nowitzki.
Yeah, man. Like, you're loyal. The players are the ones that you need to stick up for. Don't stick up for these ownership groups and whatever. Let's get to Matthew Hooks, the $2 super chat. Appreciate you. Why would Clay, Kyrie, or anyone want to come here?
It's a good question.
I posed that question last night on social media. Like, this trade will have ripple effects on this organization for years to come. Klay Thompson specifically came to this team to play with Luka Dončić. At this stage in his career, the open looks that he was going to get from that player was looking forward to. Yeah, man, that's not a thing anymore. Let's get to Tyler Durden, $2 super chat as well. If Chuck picks us, we're definitely cooked.
That's the truth, brother.
You can say that again, man. Charles Barkley and his instant analysis.
We
Steven.
are cooked.
Shout out to another Tyler B. He had two. I'm sorry. Thank you. He had another one. Tyler Durden with another $2 super chat.
Shout out Tyler.
Now Los Angeles can deal with it'll never work with these two, end quote. Let's get to our next Tyler B with the $4.99 super chat. As a Luka stan, Luka is sitting in the 5th seed. Godsend. Also seeing that puppet kid sitting there in the conference like Luka didn't carry him, end quote.
I mean, this is a really good opportunity for Jason Kidd to, Mavs fans have been wanting a revamp of the offense. And I'm not saying this is a slight to Luka. The reality is you don't really run plays with Luka. Luka doesn't really like running plays. So if you're a Mavs fan that wants more, innovation and wants a little more maybe creativity on offense, here's your chance. And Jason Kidd, here's your chance to prove that you can, redesign this team at both ends of the floor on the fly under a whole lot of pressure, And so we're about to learn a lot about him and the strength and, kind of togetherness of this team in the next, couple months.
Luke Skywalker 77 with the $2 super chat. Appreciate you. Quote, my Mavs rep won't answer my calls.
To be fair, it is Sunday. I'm sure they are all very excited about work tomorrow. That is what I can say. I'm sure they're super excited to go to the office at 8:30 a.m. But I would ask. I believe it's important for you, Lucas Skywalker 77, and for all upset Mavs fans to feel the freedom to voice your displeasure. But I promise you the person on the other end of your phone call is just as upset as you are. And so I just ask, please have patience and understanding. Please just be nice. Your ticket rep didn't trade Luka. Please be cool.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. I mean, I understand. Keep in mind, they probably, because of their job, may not be able to express how upset they are.
They cannot express that.
Cannot. But I promise you, I've talked to a bunch of people in the organization, and I've heard summations of what everybody in the organization is feeling, and there is, oh my God, there is so much anger.
Yeah.
Ticket sales to social team to digital team, to corporate sponsors, to the people that run the hoop camps, the community, everybody, just be nice, just be cool.
Bobby, I'll let you read the next one there.
Steve Chavera with the super chat. Thank you, Steve Alica. Steve is responsible for Swish 41. Steve is responsible for a lot of Mavs social media channels. Took a lot of really iconic Mavs photos over the years as well. I was with Steve on lottery night, actually, whenever I thought the Mavs weren't going to get Luka. And now, Steve, here we are 7 years later. And he's not here anymore. That is, I cannot believe I just said that out loud. Luka is not a Mav anymore. Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
Our battery's dead.
Oh, no.
Can we cut to a KG solo?
We're still here. Hello.
Big NBA, I will not be silenced.
Whose mic was that earlier? That when
Ben.
That was Ben
Talking about the protest.
That's right.
The audio cuts off.
That's right. As my daughter laughs at me as we went to black for a second there. Vince with the $7.99 super chat. Any thoughts on the chatter that this trade is a ploy to get the Mavs to Vegas?
No. I think also the if you were trying to move a team, then you would want to have a superstar to make it like super appealing, you know?
Yeah.
But it's for reasons that we've already said, that's not going to happen.
That's not happening.
But thank you though, Vince. Appreciate it.
Let's go to Ghost 08, $2 super chat.
No!
Thank you. Back to the treadmill of mediocrity in 2 years.
No.
That's what I was talking about earlier, man. Like, how many times have we talked about it on this show, or you look around the league? Either you're competing for a championship or you're pretty much racing to the bottom to try to get back there as quickly as you can. Like, treading the hamster wheel of mediocrity, Chicago, is not the way that you want to go about business. And the acquisition of Anthony Davis, I don't think increases your ceiling to get you that much closer to winning a championship, given what you are going to be dealing with, no matter how great. Like, it took Anthony Davis going to Los Angeles to team with LeBron to finally get a championship. Kyrie Irving at this stage in his career, I don't know. Simply, we don't know yet. Appreciate you, GM Ben, with the $1.99 super chat. Hey, guys. The Mavericks have an all-star now.
Still not watching the game. I'm not watching the all-star game. You cannot pay me enough money to watch that.
AD not going to play it probably in it anyway.
I hope not.
Because he's hurt right now.
Need a week off.
Because he's hurt. So there's.
Plus, I have jury duty. I really do.
Oh,
It's
congratulations.
going to be a busy week for me.
Ozzy D with the $1.99 super chat. Luka losing Supermax money will limit free agents. You want to talk about another kick in the pants on the way out the door. They cost that man $119 million by moving on. Luka Dončić is now eligible for, 4 years? $229.
Plus a whole lot more tax.
I mean, nobody's crying for Luka's bank account. Let's not get it twisted. We're not crying for Luka's bank account. He's going to be just fine. But the idea from going for what would have been a historic NBA contract, the richest contract in the history of this league, to that, it's just another factoid of this particular trade.
That's a tough thing. Yeah, that really is really, really tough.
Like, it's kind of...
That's a lot of money.
It's
a lot of money, dude.
It's wild. Luka Skywalker 77 with another $2 super chat. Tell Luka it wasn't us. I mean, it wasn't. But honestly, that's a perfect segue because, Tim, you said something earlier and kind of recapping what Nico Harrison said that really kind of just blows my mind. I think a lot of Mavericks fans as well is Luka did not ask to be traded. He wasn't approaching this team to be traded. This team, it feels like, correct me if I'm wrong, it feels like operated out of an irrational fear that was not even there. Luka said during the press conference that verbally he was not given any indication by Luka or his camp that he would not sign the extension, that he would not be trying to ask out. I think to hear that from him, knowing that they still made the trade anyway, is just another layer to this trade that has Mavericks fans just highly upset with the way that this has gone down.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't want Luka. They didn't like him as the franchise, face of the franchise. I really think it's that simple. I mean, it's when I say they, I mean Nico Harrison. I should be very specific. He has been very outright about how much it was fully his own decision. So, it was Nico's decision. Nico did not view Luka in that way, and Nico was not operating the franchise in a way that I don't think Nico cared about what Luke. I don't think he was taking Luka's preferences and comforts, and like you see with all these outgoing people, and so many of them were people who were closest to Luka. If time had gone on and Nico hadn't done this, Nico may have driven Luka to the point that he was going to request a trade. But it was the choices that the franchise was making. I don't think it was inevitable. I think Luka was still happy in Dallas as long as they were winning. But there was a lot of things done that he's been very frustrated over the years. There have been things that he did not like and were not necessary things to be done. We're not talking about they traded Dorian and that was sad. But of course, he understood that. We're talking about personnel moves and multiple. I don't know the circumstances of every single one of them. Maybe some of them were justified. I have no idea. But the exodus, the turnover internally of people who Luka spent time with and was comfortable with was not nothing. And maybe it would have been something if things changed, if another awful season happened, if nothing, if Dallas didn't figure it out this year, if all the injuries, maybe it would have been something. It wasn't at this time. But I just want to say, even if it had got to that point, the emphasis is still on how you got to that point in the choices that were made, from a top-down level.
I think, with any massive move, there's going to be a lot of fallout, and people like you, Tim, and Marc Stein, and Tim McMahon with ESPN, and I'm sure that Shams will get some juicy scoops, and we'll better be better able to kind of piece how this went down and why this happened the way it did together in the coming weeks and months and maybe even years. But I think for my issues with the trade are related to business savvy and mostly with how it went down, the messaging, the way that Nico kind of framed it on Luka's way out the door, and the unexpected nature of the whole thing. That really bothers me.
Yeah, and
sorry. But there are, there's always this caveat of maybe this could be cope, but maybe they know something about Luka's body injuries. Maybe there is some sort of that's not a good thing if Luka's career is cut short or if Luka's limited for a long time or whatever. That would suck because Luka's so much fun to watch. But there could be justifications. We won't know for a long time if they're right or not, but that doesn't change how awful this is, how awful the messaging is, how awful the spin is, how awful the mood is, and the way it happened. All of that stuff is such garbage. It'll never change, even if they're right.
Some of the people who are on the basketball side closer to, what actually happened, closer to, some of them have, at least an understanding of why the team would do, or at least more sympathetic to the why of how this all went down. Still a lot of anger about how that this was the deal. So when I say there's a lot of angry, fed up people who, don't think this was done the right way, there's a lot of people who just outright would not have done it. There's a lot of people who, no, these are not the people who made the decisions, but there are people who also just think this was a bad move. There are internal people. There's people around very close, significant people who think it's just a bad move. Think that Dallas didn't get enough back. So,
yeah, and that is, that undermines the reasoning, because that means that that's not a unified position. That means that maybe one person holds that position. And there are a lot of people in chat that are really upset about the thing I just said. I literally said none of that matters because the messaging is so bad. I literally just said, even if he's right, it doesn't matter. Okay, please listen to what I'm saying. But it's better to be early than late, but it's way better to be right than wrong. And it's going to be really, really hard to prove us wrong on this. I think it's just going to be really hard, dude. It's going to be really, really hard to prove us wrong on this. 80 is going to have to achieve some real incredible stuff. Max Christie is going to have to be the star that some random reporter said the Lakers were building him into like, I cannot believe the Mavs traded for a subject of Lakers propaganda. I literally cannot believe that. But, we'll see. The on-court product could be fine. The Mavs could make a playoff push. The Mavs could win a series. The Mavs could win multiple series. They could if the matchups are good and if AD's healthy and if Kyrie's healthy and if Clay plays well and if PJ can play the 3 and if Derek Lively comes back soon and if they can make a couple more trades at the deadline and if Max Christie's good and if Najee keeps playing well and if, it's possible. But again, the soul of this thing is gone. What happens on the court is immaterial unless they go like fo and win some historic way that, is just going to right all the wrongs of the last 24 hours. But as it stands right now, this is kind of like an irredeemable thing in a lot of fans' eyes. And, so talking about the on-court stuff is almost disingenuous, but the reasoning behind it, I just don't think that, again, even if Nico is right, I don't think it's going to matter in the end. I don't. All right, so KG had to dip for a second. I don't know when or if he's coming back. Do we have any more super chats, Tanner? Okay.
Oh man.
Let's run through the last of the super chats and then we'll probably sign off and get out of here because I need to eat food and I need to sleep like for a really long time. Thank you all for hanging out. There's still more than 2,000 people in here watching. Like, people are like, I'm not breaking news. People care about Luka, but like I really am like. I'm just really surprised at this whole thing. I just still can't believe it's him.
I feel exhausted by how much my brain has had to process today.
Yeah.
And the overwhelming main thing in the middle of all that I'm processing is the fact they actually traded Luka Dončić. A 25-year-old Luka Dončić got traded. That is literally making me so tired. Just trying to over and over again go through my head and think and be like, this is really what happened. So
it's a bummer. Leo says, shout out Leo, thank you. I haven't been a Mavs fan for long, but I remember the 21-22 season Mavs Twitch streams. Oh my God, Cat's in the office. Leo saying misses the 21-2. Yeah. Twitch streams, and I will hold them memories dearly, but it really does feel like a part of me died last night. Dude, thank you for saying that, Leo. And a lot of people feel that exact way. That 21-22 team was so special. It was so special. And, I mean, the catchphrase, the vibes are immaculate. When you look back on that team, every single player from that team is gone now except for Dwight Powell and Spencer Dinwiddie.
Oh, my gosh.
I was wearing that shirt last night, actually. I did not put on that shirt after the trade. I was just wearing it. But yeah, Jalen Brunson, gone. Dorian, gone. Luka, gone.
Oh, my God.
Everybody except for Dwight and Spencer, gone. Life comes at you fast. You never know whenever you're in the good times until the good times are over. So you always have to try and enjoy the moment because rug can get pulled out of you pretty dang quick in life.
Game 7 will forever live rent-free in my head on what Luka did to Phoenix that night.
That image is now cursed forever.
Like,
Damien says, the problem with Dallas fans is we all fall in love with our stars too much. Winning should be valued far more than our favorite players. Mavs are now a force. That's an interesting take, Damien. I mean, if the Mavs really want to be a team that says the defense can win championships, I mean, they're making a huge investment in defense. And, there's a chance that depending on what moves they make, there's a chance that they could play some real bully ball down the stretch. And that could be fun to watch. And if you're kind of old school in your sensibilities and you get tired of guys not boxing out and you get tired of guys missing layups, you get tired of guys, not paying attention to the details. I mean, Anthony Davis, whenever he's at his best, it is a masterclass on defense.
He's
every
a
single
monster.
night. Every single night.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, there for a while, I thought Dallas, or it was going to report this, was going to be talking about this today. Obviously, it doesn't matter now, but like Dallas was in on Miles Turner. They were talking to Indiana potentially about trading for him, and so like clearly they like the big ideas. So the what they're trying to do must be Anthony Davis and Lively. That's very clearly the long-term vision.
Does that win now? I just don't know.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how all that fell through, or if I know basically they're trying to get Maxey to a third team, and then Maxey got hurt. I don't know how or to what extent that contrasted with this didn't trade Luka. Sorry, just still a crazy thing.
I do want to. I would be remiss if I didn't at least say a little bit about Maxey. The line that Nico had in the press conference today, after the game, the Celtics game, when Maxey broke his foot, and Nico went back to the locker room, and Maxey said, "I'm sorry that I got hurt again." That just broke me, dude. I love Maxey Kleber, great dude, really, 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 really good player, and just one of the most unlucky people, one of the most unlucky NBA players that I've seen, my time around the league. He was supposed to come to the NBA 2 different times before he finally did in 2017, but he suffered season-ending injuries before he could do it. Finally signed with the Mavs as a free agent whenever he was already 26 or 27 or something, and he gave the Mavs a lot of good minutes and a lot of good years, and he just got so unlucky. It is such a bummer, and I know it wore on him a lot. It just, seeing guys that are that injury prone and that suffer that many bumps, bruises, maladies, breaks, twists, sprains, tears, it just sucks. And so all the best to Maxey as well, and thank you for being a really cool guy and a good player for a long time.
A couple of years ago, I dated someone who I found out was a Mavs fan, and found this out several dates in, and she and I was like, okay, well, who do you like on the team? And she's naming the players she likes, but she's like, oh, Maxey, I hate Maxey. And I'm like, what the heck? How could you dislike Maxey? How on earth? And so she's like, yeah, he dated my high school nemesis. And so I tell this story to Maxey, and Maxey genuinely looked so sad when I was like, yeah, I'm dating someone and she doesn't like you. And he responds with a pain, me? Why? And then when he found out who it was, he was like, oh yeah, no, that was years ago. It was I don't know, just a very amusing story to me.
It's just very a good funny dude, moment. Man, and he's a sensitive. Yeah. He's kind of a sensitive guy, and I wish him all the best.
Coming up in just a moment, we're going to hear from Luka Dončić's father with respect to this trade as well.
Oh, we're still all right. Let's keep cooking.
He's made a statement as well on Slovenian television today as he was doing the shout out to our guy Istar Franco.
To clarify, we're going to play what he said.
We're going to play what he said.
Yeah, he's not joining live.
We are not getting him.
It would be sweet if he did, though.
That would be crazy.
Sasha, join the show. We'll send you the eCam link. We'll send you the invite.
So we'll be playing a video here in a second from Luka Dončić's father and what he had to say about this as well. Noah B. Clark with the $5 super chat. Quote, I'm a Hornets fan. We beef with Mavs fans after the PJ and Grant deal, but no fan base deserves this, and this whole league feels for y'all.
Thank you.
Imagine the collective NBA community, for the most part, except for Lakers fans.
And Noah, the Hornets just beat the Mavs ass last week, too. This is just insult to injury, dude.
That's very true. Let's go with Ozzy D, the $4.99 super chat. If you really want to rage, look up Nico and Dumont holding the Western Conference
Please don't make
trophy.
me. Please don't make me. You can't make me look at that picture ever again.
Yeah, thanks for the super chat, Ozzy. But let's move past that one.
Yeah, we're gonna slide right on past that one. But thank you for your contribution. From Paul Tribble, $4.99 super chat. Thank you. Like sands, pun intended, through the hourglass, so are the days of our lives.
Oh my God,
it's a hell of a soap opera and a hell of a statement there. Shout out to you, Paul.
Queen has a song called "Days of Our Lives." These are the days of our lives, and it is it's one of the last songs Freddie recorded before he died, and I might have to go listen to that when I get home tonight.
Luka Skywalker 77 with the $2 super chat. Who will win a chip first, Luka Dončić or Dallas?
I don't know. I don't know if either will. I mean, I just don't know. I don't know. I guess it depends on what the Mavs do next.
Yeah, one thing I have not thought about at all is how Luka fits on the Lakers, except for he's going to be awesome because he's very good at basketball.
Yeah.
A lineup of LeBron.
I'm gonna save that
Luka,
for tomorrow. I can't process that right now.
Rui Hachimura, Austin Reeves.
Might trade LeBron though. I mean, that's already speculation going around.
The fact that he wasn't consulted for it is the thing that really.
Yeah.
AD and LeBron right by the same guy. Like,
and he didn't know about it.
Yeah.
So just and LeBron makes pretty close to what Jimmy Butler makes.
Is that all the super chats that we have there? Okay.
Thank you all.
Thank you all so much for your contributions with the super chat. Do we have the
What? I mean, it'll take me a few more minutes, or we can save it for time. I mean, we have.
Yeah, we can. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, let's do it tomorrow. Yeah, 'cause we will be live tomorrow, noon. God, we're just streaming all the time. It's great.
Any final thoughts on this before we leave?
Who led the Mavs in scoring today?
Who led the Mavs in scoring today? That would be Jaden Hardy.
Nice.
He had 21 points.
Okay. Showcase game.
One more super chat.
Shout out to the final super chat from Ronald, $5. I kind of want this to fail miserably. It'll suck, but that's probably the only way Nico will get replaced as our GM. I hate that I feel this way.
God, that sucks, man.
We've been saying the same thing about Jerry Jones for 30 years, man. Welcome.
That
Just saying,
sucks.
Welcome.
It just sucks that people feel that. Like I'm trying to empathize, but it just sucks that that's how people feel. But that's how people feel. I do not blame you one bit for feeling that way. It just is a bummer. Sports are supposed to be fun.
The leading scorer in today's game between the Cavs and the Mavs?
Donovan Mitchell.
No. Let's go with Sam Merrill, who hit 9 threes and scored 27 points today.
Did the Mavs score 27 points?
Not in the first
Not
quarter.
in the first quarter. At one point, the Cavaliers led this game by 53.
That's not that bad. Could have been worse. Could have been 54.
All right. They scored 50 points in the first quarter to the Cavs today.
Someone should fire me? Oh, why?
Who said that? That's kind of messed up.
I said that it sucks.
My wife texted me, who just picked up our daughter from the studio. She's driving past the American Airlines Center. She just texted me, they're boycotting out here.
I'm going to stop by on my way home.
Yeah, like that's the situation.
I want to go check it out, dude.
Yeah, it's an unbelievable
I'll
scene.
pop over with you.
Thank you so much for joining us here on the DLLS Mavs post-game show, Luka Dončić therapy session. We sincerely appreciate all of you for your super chats, your comments, your kind words over the last now 24 hours almost. With this, we will be back tomorrow at noon on the DLLS Mavs podcast. We will have more from our National NBA insider, Marc Stein. We will also have more from our Mavericks beat writer, Tim Cato, as well as we continue to react to an earth-shattering deal with Luka Dončić now becoming a member of the Los Angeles Lakers, Anthony Davis coming to the Dallas Mavericks. Mavericks fell 144-101 today on the road to the Cleveland Cavaliers. They will next be on the floor at this point.
The Mavs? Tuesday at Philly, baby.
Tuesday.
Kyrie or whoever against someone. I don't even know who's on Philly anymore.
Gershon Yabusele goes for 50.
Oh, God. Yabu's going to give the Mavs 40,
Don't
isn't he?
give them the business.
They're going to try and win that game, right? The Mavs?
Yeah.
Let's hope so, because they definitely – well,
Yeah,
they were going to get crushed today anyway by the Cavs. Yeah. So come back with us tomorrow at noon here on the DLLS Mavs podcast for our National NBA insider, Marc Stein. Appreciate our guy Tanner making us look good and sound good as always.
Thanks, Tanner.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. That's our Mavericks beat writer, Tim Cato. That's our Mavericks analyst, Bobby Curl. I'm your host, Kevin Gray. We are DLLS Mavs. We'll talk to you tomorrow at noon right here on DLLS Sports. Y'all be good. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.